Okay, so Chairman Strayer said he couldn't attend the meeting, and Ellen graciously agreed to start the CAC meeting for us today. So Ellen, take it away.
So I'd like to just start the March 2nd CAC meeting. So I'll call to order. Do I have anybody that'll second it?
I think you have the
I
power
can second.
to order.
Oh,
You have all the power on that one.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't get the I didn't get the memo.
Just say.
Okay, so are you going to share the screen of the agenda?
Oh, sure. Yep, I will do that. And so the first thing, well, actually, before I do that, I'll just take a roll call really fast. We have Mickey Vaisolid, Chelsea Ratner, Stephen Burkholder, Ashok Ramasubramanian, and then Ellen Daviero, acting chairperson. Roy Thornton is also joining us from the public, and Clark and myself. So, and I will go ahead and present the screen now. Oops. Nope. Sorry, wait. Okay. Yeah, so our first order of business is approval of the minutes. That we need a motion in a second on.
So did everybody read the minutes? Does anybody have anything that they'd like to add or to critique? I reviewed them. I thought that they were good, and I thought they were, obviously, well done. And I didn't see any errors myself. Did anybody else see anything that they thought needed to be corrected or noted? All right, can we make a motion to accept the minutes from the February 2nd, 2022 meeting? I make a motion to accept the minutes from the meeting on February 22nd. Do I have anybody that'll second it?
I can second it.
Great, thank you.
So, then you would just call for a vote unless anybody had any other comments. They're all in favor because just minutes. It's probably fine.
Okay. Are we all in favor of the minutes? Say aye. Or say yay.
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Any opposed? Okay, sounds like those are accepted. Sorry. And then Roy, it's kind of up to you if you want to talk under privilege of the floor, or you can just hang for the meeting. It should be pretty short, and then we can talk about the signs under the reports. It's up to you.
Okay, I just have quick comments. I went to attended the last town meeting and got a positive reception from the supervisor and from John Delarada. Then I got a call from Susan Polsinelli asking if I would interview the Gazette reporter for Nissiuna, and I did. And the article appeared on the Saturday local news page. I'm not sure how many of you have seen it or not. Then a question.
And you made the editorial. Do you see that?
The editorial? No.
Yeah, they just did an editorial maybe like a day ago. You got the editorial too. Double whammy.
Wow, I'll have to look that one up. Anyway, I've got a question. What can I do next? And I'm even on the low-mo initiative or on the what we're trying to get done on the landfill cap. And one of the things that maybe it needs first is a title. Has anybody got a suggestion for a title? I saw biodiversity on your agenda.
Is there a reason you wouldn't call it like the bobolink habitat? Because that seems to be what makes people the most excited about not mowing the cap, is because they're kind of rare, right?
They and other species and insects and pollinators and butterflies are all in trouble. So this Lomo would help them all. And so it's more than just bobolinks.
Yeah, we have talked about biodiversity sort of encompassing our Lomo initiatives before.
Oops. Laura, you just froze.
Oh, might have to turn my.
I guess
You're okay.
Yeah,
I can hear you.
I may be the one that's freezing.
Yeah, you didn't freeze for the rest of us.
Okay, but I did. I was listening at the Highway Public Works Committee meeting this morning, and they did talk about making a mowing map. Like Ray wants to work with the engineering department on making a mowing map for that area. So it sounds like the next internal step for the town was to map out what areas they think could be maintained as Lomo. I mean, I attached your packet to the meeting. There's beautiful maps in it. I'm going to make sure they've seen them. But they may want to make their own map and then overlay it with yours and see how it works together.
Okay, I lost my connection, or can you still hear me?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, I could work with the highway department or whoever is assigned to put together that map.
Yeah,
And making that
and-
connection is the next thing.
And then making a title.
Well, that's, it would be nice to have a catchy title, like grassland biodiversity or something like that.
That's a joke. You got any ideas?
Well, stating the obvious, Niskayuna Grassland Biodiversity Initiative.
That's a mouthful.
Well, you can cut off the grassland and just call it Niskayuna Biodiversity Initiative. And for now we are focusing on the landfill cap, but there are other things that come under the umbrella that we can add on later, especially because you say it's a mouthful. So just Niskayuna Biodiversity Initiative, and you can talk about these things. And let me say that like you're doing excellent work here, like taking on this project and moving it forward. It's one of those things where it's not like you go into a cookbook and say follow step 1, follow step 3, follow step 4, and then it's done. Rather, you talk to this committee, you talk to this other committee, you establish these things. Like the project kind of slowly moves forward. So I don't have specific next steps for you, only to say that keep your outreach open with this meeting, with the town board, and especially the highway department.
Well, I plan to have a 2-minute privilege of the floor, hopefully with the highway department. And Laura, maybe I need to get a link from you on that as well, because I did not get one back when I signed in through the website. Whoops.
If you're talking, you're on mute.
Laura, you're muted.
Yep, talking away. Sorry. Yeah, that meeting was this morning, but the next steps that they'll take are the mapping. So I was, I'll ask Matt and Ray when they're gonna do that and if we can be a part of it, was my idea.
Great.
Okay. So Roy, do you want to hang around to the end of the meeting if you can, or do you want us to look at the signs now?
Go ahead. It's your choice.
Okay. Then I think I'd like it's up to Ellen, but I would probably proceed.
Keep moving forward.
Okay. So our next item is the Historic Preservation Code. And the last meeting you guys looked at this, you wanted to make sure that it included a provision that there was an ability, like a limited ability for the demolition permit to be denied. And so we took the town of Bedford code that Chairman Strayer had found, and we added in their steps for demolition. It's not like spectacularly different to what you saw last month, but instead of the 30 days and then the 90 days, it's 30 days referral to the Historic Commission. If they decide that it needs to be looked into further, then it would be another 30 days before they make their determination. But they're allowed to determine to keep it, to take it down with conditions, and to take it down. Those are the three things they could determine. And then if the owner felt like their determination was unfair, they're allowed to appeal it to the town board. So the town board would be the appealing agency, the one that would make sure that the historic committee didn't overstep their bounds and that everything was done fairly. So none of the other language changes. It was just this one page, really, page 4, I think.
So I think my only concern is that Dart had he had such a vision for this, and I just wanted to make sure that it met all his criteria. As you know, I'm not well versed in in this, and that was my only concern about talking about it tonight, was that I just wanted to make sure that he had signed off on it, really, because he was the one, had the strong opinion that we should wait. So did you happen to get feedback from him?
Yes, and I apologize because I knew you were going to be chairperson, and I was going to email his email to you. He had no objections to it and incorporated what he wanted. He sent me that email.
Great, perfect. And I am happy with it as well.
It is a substantive change, from the previous version, in the sense that, Chairman Strayer's concern was that, like, the person could just wait 90 days and they would get their way. But now there is at least the option to preserve the building even after the time period. And then the ultimate decision goes to the elected officials. I think it's a fair compromise. I think it's nice to have it, especially if another town has been using it. I am supportive.
It sure would have been helpful.
Yeah, for a couple of projects we've had in our town.
Yeah.
So, I was just going to read the questions quickly. I know you guys are kind of used to them, and I'm proposing that there's really no impact environmentally to the historic code. It's really a positive impact. So I'm just going to touch base on the questions really fast. And then if you guys had one that you wanted to discuss, we can add it, or otherwise we can move forward. So I've got, is a material conflict with the adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? Like, our comprehensive plan wants us to preserve historic properties because of the fabric of our community. So, but it shouldn't change the intensity or use of the land. It shouldn't impact or impair the character or quality of the existing community. Hopefully the intent of the code is to preserve the existing quality of the community. No critical areas, doesn't affect like complete streets, doesn't affect utilities, doesn't affect energy. One of the questions would be, does it impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Again, it's really meant to protect those things, unless you disagree. Will result in an average change to natural resources, kind of no effect. Will it increase the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage, or create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? So those are the questions we would normally look at. I propose that in totality, it's helping the majority of those things. So if you guys want to dive into anything specific, I certainly can. But
Laura, is there any concerned that like some of these old buildings could have lead or asbestos or something like that.
So they
I'm just
can. They can. But that actually is kind of an interesting thing. So if they have asbestos in their like roof tiles or things that are non-friable or whatever, it generally is allowed to stay unless you're doing a demolition permit. And then you have to go in with a company that removes all the asbestos before you take the building down. Or you treat the entire thing as if every single bit of it has asbestos, which is expensive. So normally you would hire a company to go in and remove all the asbestos before demolition. That's all part of a normal building permit. If it does happen to have like a lead service and it's discovered, you're not like grandfathered in with lead. Like you have to replace it. And that's true of even people's homes. So, I mean, it's not particularly common, but it's not uncommon. So, I mean, the homes would fall under the same building codes that any home in Niskayuna would. But those two things, they are an issue for older homes. It does come up.
okay. Thank you, Laura. I'm okay with just proceeding with no impact or positive impacts.
Yeah. In that code, it does say that the person who files the demolition permit is allowed to present their case. So if their case is there's a ton of asbestos and lead pipes and I can't fix them, then that's their case, But you wouldn't know that because it really is a case-by-case thing on whether or not these homes really need to come down. And we've really never had any ability to have any oversight or protection to them, so. So if you guys are comfortable, then you would need a motion to make a recommendation to the town board on adoption. On the environmental impacts of adopting the code.
I make a motion to do the thing that Laura just said.
To make a negative declaration recommendation to the town board. Just have
Yes.
some time.
And I can second that. Do we need to say negative? No,
Nope, I think you're good. So that can just be an all in favor. That's kind of how you guys vote, I think, normally. Oh, you're muted, Ellen.
Sorry, if everybody's all in favor. I see nodding heads and thumbs up. So
Any
that's
opposed?
good.
Any opposed?
No opposed.
So I will call that unanimous. Okay, and then
I just want to say thanks to Dart for really, sticking to it and making sure that it was right. I know that, it was a really hard. It was really sad that it wasn't here for the buildings over across from Mohawk Commons when we lost that area.
yeah. Okay, so the next agenda item is a new building at GE. A lot of the materials that are attached to your packet are preliminary because the building's more than 35 feet high. So they have to go to the zoning board first. So I'd expect by the next meeting, you guys will have better drawings than this. But I just wanted to go through it so that you have a sense of it. Potentially, we would want to take action at the next meeting so we can collect questions. And then GE will probably come to the next meeting for you guys to talk with. So this is your introduction. Where those little green pinpoint things are where they're proposing to build a new building, 55 feet high. It's like considered they're like K West Road, which is not the big one off of the research circle. It's the one when you go down into the valley. It's that entrance into GE. They have two entrances.
It's a service entrance, right, Laura?
It's not used as much, but I drive that way to work, and there's definitely cars that go in there because there's an office building just a little bit north of this. But generally speaking, the main entrance is off of research, and this is definitely a secondary entrance. So that's its location. Then they have the schematics. I think those ones are just kind of technical. These ones I like. This is what the building would look like. So, I mean, obviously not beautiful, but it's a research and development zoning, and the point of this building is to house cryogenics and things like that. So
It said special equipment.
yeah. They
And ju-
explained the. Oh, go ahead, Clark.
Well, just so everyone knows, that's the building tipped up on its side.
Oh
If-
yeah.
If you rotate that 90 degrees, that's what the building looks like. So just picture that rotated clockwise 90 degrees.
I should be able to rotate it for you. Here we go.
Yeah, the sky's on top. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
So there's a little front area, and then the 55 feet is the back portion where you can see the roof is a little taller.
It's very, very big. That's very tall.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it definitely is. One of the things the planning board asked is like what the view of it will be from River Road and how far it is from River Road, because like just north of where these cars are is another very big building that you can't even see, and you can see like, you know, this is the guard shack, then there's an intersection, then there's trees, then there's this building. So the planning board wants to see how visible it'll be from the road. I'm just estimating though, it's, you know, it's quite a few hundred feet from the road. So it's not like on right across from a residence. It's, you know,
They said it was they said it was replacing two buildings. Are they taking them down?
yeah. So in our discussions with them, what we are understanding is that they have some of the equipment in existing buildings now. So they'd have to build a new building, move the equipment into the new building, and then they could take the old buildings down. But they couldn't like just demolish those buildings because they're using and they need stuff in them. So their process has to be new building first, move, and then demolish old buildings. And the other thing that they had asked for, which we'll hopefully have for you, but I'll write down any questions you guys have. Sorry, I'm flipping around. Is what the height of the adjacent building is, so you can get a sense like if it, you know, is going to be in scale with what GE has currently. So we're going to be looking up the height of the adjacent building too, but I think it's very similar.
And from the drawing, it looked like it was clear that there was no that there were no trees that were going to be taken down. Is that correct? And there's no parking lot are going to be put around it, and they're just going to walk to it.
I mean, it's adjacent to a parking lot. It doesn't look from the aerial like they need to take any trees down, but we'll ask. So that'll be one of the questions we want to know. Any trees removed and any additional parking?
And Laura, there is so if you turn on the bike path away from River Road and go towards, the soccer fields and Craig Elementary on the River Road, on the bike path, sorry. So if you're traveling on the bicycle, you turn away from River Road, and then you go adjacent to the GE property. On the right-hand side, there's this massive meadow, which is like lots of wildflowers and things like that. I looked at the map carefully. It didn't look like that nice meadow is going to be impacted.
Oops.
I wanted to know, whether parking lots or whatever, like secondary structures they may need, if there is going to be any impact on that very richly biodiverse site on the meadow.
Yeah, I know where you're talking. I think it's quite a ways away.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I thought it was over one more to the right to the bike path to the, if you're looking at what the picture here to the left, right?
So I'm going to bring up Sims. Hold on. Okay. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
that like black line is the bike path there. That's the bike path there. And I think that's the big field you're talking about, right, Ashok?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you see the thing that sort of looks like a box down here with the white square, that white square is the guard check. And
Uh-huh.
then that's the intersection. So then they're proposing the new building. Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to zoom in like that. They're proposing the new building like over here. And I mean, it looks like there's a lot of underutilized parking there. So it may be that they can just pop the building right there and don't have to build any new parking. I don't know.
Yeah, that looks, yeah.
This is the big building I was telling you about. I think this building, the one that they're proposing, might even be smaller than this one. Because you know, they're putting it like right here in this little grassy area.
Okay. So that does address my concerns significantly. If possible, as long as they are interested in hearing our opinion, and since we don't get a lot of opportunity to talk to GE, perhaps we can just say that, hey, we're talking about biodiversity and things like that, and that meadow is rather nice, just to convey that information to them through an official channel.
Yeah. When they're at the next meeting, we can definitely tell them that. I'm not exactly sure why they want to site it on the grass. That may be easier. And I don't know, what kind of driver it is to cars, but you almost wonder if they couldn't just build it on the asphalt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe this picture was taken on a Saturday. It's just amazing how underutilized that parking is.
Yeah, that certainly would be something to ask, but maybe they need the ground.
Yeah. Oops. Any other questions we want from them for the next meeting, or thoughts or concerns?
Are we allowed to ask if, they are, plan on making it any of, how they're going to, like for green energy,
Oh yeah, we can definitely do that. Any green energy practices? Anything else you guys can think of?
How about
a
water
little bit
usage?
more detail on like what you mentioned something about cryo something, just be like tons of hazardous chemicals, stuff of that nature.
Hey, Shock, that came up during the planning board meeting on the 28th.
Okay.
You might want to listen to that for a little more detail.
Okay.
They talked about a cryogenic process relative to superconductivity, relative to batteries. And so there would be liquid nitrogen being delivered to the facility, but there were no hazardous waste products of any type being transported away from the site.
Okay.
But there definitely will be deliveries of liquid nitrogen, because one of the planning board members asked about that.
Well, that's fine. At Union College, we get a huge tank of liquid nitrogen for the chemistry lab. I've seen it. Can be a little scary when you first look at it, but I think I'm assuming that they know how to handle it, and that's a very reasonable assumption to make. I don't think I have concerns with the liquid nitrogen.
Yeah, he said they already received liquid nitrogen.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a couple of possible things to ask about.
Go ahead, Roy.
What about their water usage? What are the effluents into the sewer system? Do those tax the town systems? Are there any VOC emissions from the ventilation systems? I doubt that, but it's a question.
Roy, you just need to join the CAC. You know we have openings, right?
I got enough to do, thanks.
I think the strategy is let's drag out the low-mo initiative long enough now that he'll come to really like us and he'll want to stay.
Okay, so I've got that. Water usage, effluent into sewers, impact the town systems, and VOC emissions.
I think they have their own power substation, so that
They
might
do.
not be an issue.
Yeah, well, I think they do tie in. No, you know what? They have their own sewer system too, actually. But we can still ask them. Their sewer system is like top of the line. It has a bunch of really special stuff to take out mercury because they have so many labs. So they have like much higher standards for removing mercury than like any other wastewater treatment plant around. They have their own. But I'm still gonna write all that down because it's helpful. Anything else? Okay.
Nothing comes to mind for me.
So so look forward to that at the next meeting. Be driving by. If I get materials early, I'll send them to you guys. They're on a tight timeline, which is why, if we can, I want you guys to be ready to take action at the next meeting.
And we're expecting something similar to, if you remember the pictures, or they were actually pictures with a little rendering of the cell towers when Verizon was talking about putting different antennas on the cell towers, and you could see what they looked like from various angles. That's kind of what the planning board asked for this new building, how it would look. So.
Yeah, so Chelsea's saying it. Should we move on to the reports? Ashok, did you want to report anything on the natural resource inventory? He might have stepped away for a second. Ellen,
I'm here. Sorry.
Oh.
I had it on my headphones. We had a meeting of the working group middle February. Jim, our consultant, has given us some homework about various documents to review. And I am going to be creating a Google Drive where I put in all the stuff and like assign people different tasks to review. Some of them are the obvious things like the comprehensive plan, but other things are more interesting. Then we do have a date. We do have a date for Jim's site visit. We selected a date that is good for the students and good for the members of the working group. It is Saturday, May 14th. It is Saturday, May 14th. That's when he comes, and in the preliminary NRI, we're going to be talking about the lands near near the swimming pool and that center. And also there's some lands near Blatnick Park. So he will survey those two properties and a bunch of pocket parks while he's here. So that is happening Saturday, May 14th. And closer to the date, I will work with you, Laura, about possibly putting some stuff on the website and email blast and things like that.
Yeah, that sounds great. I would like to attend that if I can.
And that's it.
Thanks, Ashok. So I'll bring up the two signs I think that are our final signs, are really, really super close. Right, Ellen and Roy? So this one is the bigger one for the habitat, like we were just talking about, although maybe if we're going to change the title, that top part would change. And then this is the one that we referred to the highway department. It has approval from the supervisor. it's the exact size of a handicap parking sign and like our EV charging station sign. Because the sign company we use, they produce those kind of signs all the time. So I talked to the highway department at their meeting this morning, and he's going to send it to him and get a quote for 5 to 9 of these signs. And then this one we would have to work on from a different angle. But I'll keep working on them until we get all of them. And Ellen and Roy did them. I'm just making them get printed on metal.
So I haven't, oops, sorry, I'm talking and I'm on mute. So the second one, the one for the grassland and for the bobolinks, and the biodiversity, I think I would just like it to be just a little bit different. And I don't know, I think I'd like to, feature more. I guess if those are I don't know, I guess what does everybody else think, and what size did you want? Did you want the same size? Did you want it to be the handicap size? Laura, is that the best size to go with? Because that's what they're used to.
Oh, I think for the grassland habitat one, we should do bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was thinking like that one would be more of like a podium sign, whereas like the handicap signs are just going to be placed like periodically along the grass so that people coming up to it can see the delineation and also be like, oh, that's why it's not mowed.
Okay. All right. Well, then I want, yeah.
So I'm just looking at this right now, and I think the thing that can make it maybe a little better, like when you're looking at those podium signs, especially when you're on trails and stuff, is to see the animal species a little bit more clearer. Like I just kind of Googled what a bobolink was because the picture looks really cute, but it's kind of hard to tell from here. But I guess if it's a little bigger, maybe it'll look better. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like if those pictures were bigger or just, maybe clearer, like the bigger, like you can see the bird in the middle a little bit more, that might be a better suit for that. But that's just my opinion.
Roy has his hand raised. Go ahead, Roy. You don't.
The pictures are ones that I picked, and I tried to avoid copyrighted photos. I don't know if you worry about that or not, since you're not making money off of it.
We do worry about it, but if there's a photo that we like, we would just pay for it. We can do that.
Mhm.
So we would just buy it if we wanted to do. I mean, it may be that those are high enough resolution that we could zoom in on them too. I'm not sure. Or if there's like a really cute bobolink picture and we could buy it for like $12 or whatever, we could definitely do that.
Mhm.
And I think in the birding community, I bet people have really good pictures of bobolinks. I mean, I'm not part of it, but my neighbor is a big part of it. I could ask him if he has any good pictures of like the bobolink or the Savannah sparrow, just in case,
Sounds good. These three, well, I think all of these pictures were taken by my wife, and the bobolink and the sparrow were taken at Latnick Park landfill, because that's the gas vent, the green gas vent. The bumblebee pictures and the monarch butterfly, bumblebee was in our house garden. Butterfly was somewhere else. I can't remember. So if people have other photos, it's fine with me.
Yeah, I definitely think it needs a little bit of fine tuning so that it if it's going to be bigger, I wasn't clear what exactly it was how big it was going to be. So now that I know that it's what it's going to be, and I think maybe we could even go maybe a little bit more in depth more of what we're going to say on it as well. Maybe, I guess we need
I
the
keep losing
sizing.
you.
Oh, sorry.
And I
Can
think if I heard Chelsea right, I think she's kind of saying the pictures are nice, but maybe zoom in on the bird a little bit more so you see a bigger bird and not so much of everything around the bird.
I agree.
Exactly, because like when I'm walking around, I didn't know what a bobolink was, so it'd be cool to be like doing, you know, frisbee golf or walking your dog and be like, oh, that's what a bobolink is.
Yeah, because
yeah.
the original one that we had before this was in black and white, and that wasn't helpful to, I mean, it's a very pretty sketch, but it doesn't help you to pick one out.
But that's the female one, right? The male, no, is that the
This is
female
male.
one? Oh, that's
This is
male.
the male. And the sparrow is, I think, the male as well.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I got the two labels mixed up.
Yeah, because then when I Google bobolink, they look more like the other one.
Yeah, the labels of those two are swapped.
So the yellow on the top is a bobolink.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Still very beautiful.
If you want to send me photographs that to be included, or do you want to engineer the sign yourself based on photographs supplied by other people? Work it either way.
Maybe Chelsea, I mean, if you don't mind, ask your friend, and then we can just get, you know, an onslaught of pictures, and then Ellen and I could look and see, because we found a website that we liked, and we actually bought that grass picture that's on our other sign, so we could see.
Yeah, I'm all for letting, oh, Laura, you put yourself on mute again. I'm all for letting someone, you know, design this. Because I'm still working on the grassland, the stuff that Roy sent, that had the wording, and fixing that. I have a couple of other things. So.
Okay, well, if you guys want to collect pictures and send them to me, I can see what we have, and then, you know, put them around. And what Ellen's talking about is that we made a QR code to point to a grassland habitat website, and also just a website, but we haven't populated it yet. So Ellen and Roy are working on the language that you would see when we build these signs, very similar to our pesticide-free. So if you buy a pesticide-free sign, you stick it in the ground and it says go to www.niskuna.org/pesticide-free. We could say / I can't remember what we called it, but that's what we would have. And then she's working on the language for the website with Roy.
Got another issue, and that is these signs sound like they might be fairly expensive. And there's two functions to the signs. One would be to educate the public as they come onto the site and onto the walking trails. The other would be to delineate the area that should not be mowed. And there might need to be smaller, less expensive signs and more of them, to keep the gang mowers from encroaching on the land that would like to be kept for grassland.
Yeah, yep, I agree with that. I think the Lomo zone sign that Ellen and I worked on here is the smaller one that delineates the edges. I'm hoping they're not very expensive, because when we did the EV signs, which are the exact same size, that say 4-hour parking at Town Hall, they weren't very expensive. It was okay. But those bigger ones will be.
If we're gonna do it and we're gonna make it a nice sign, I wanna make sure it's good. I wanna make sure it's really good. So, I don't know. Yeah. Is everybody okay with this one, the Lomo one here? That is already, that house, is that one meet people's criteria? I don't know. I'm not, an artist or a sign person. So.
I mean, I really like it. I think it's colorful and pretty, and if it's in like a little sign, it'll be easy to read. And people are going to be like, "Why is the grass taller here?" And they'll see this sign. So I think it works really well.
Yeah, I also think it's very pretty with the colorful picture of the grassland, and it's looking great.
Let's hope we can get the grassland to look like that.
Okay, so if
Got
you
my
guys can
thumbs
reach out to people and we'll collect pictures for the next sign. So this one will get printed, and then we'll start working on the bigger one with Roy, if that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah, I'll start asking some people for pictures and just input, but I think that's a good idea.
What about contacting Nick Klemzak at the Schenectady County Soil and Water Conservation District to get your wildflower cedar into the Low-Mo Initiative area
Yeah,
fairly soon in the spring?
I've been trading phone calls with him. He called me on Monday. I called him on Tuesday, and then I missed a call from him today. But I believe that he's calling me about this. So hopefully I'll be able to touch bases with him tomorrow. I would like to get him talking to Ray and get him permission to like literally do whatever he can to get wildflowers in there, seeds, turning over the grass, anything I think will be good. So I'm working on that.
Do you need, he has to talk to you, correct? He can't. Like no one can do that for
He's
you, I
been
guess.
calling. Yeah, he's been calling me. Like I talked to Ray about what he can do. And Ray seemed, like, okay, that sounds good. So actually, I really just need them to start talking to each other. But first, I got to tell Nick that, we're okay with anything. Like, let's get him talking to Ray and see what they can coordinate would be really good.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, I just put Roy's beautiful presentation in our packet. This is the map I was talking about. Like, it seems like this would be a good map to start from. And then C, because he's got areas. I think C is the one they don't mow already, right? But A and B would be really good. Yeah, and so we can see like how much of A and B we could keep in perpetuity, and then maybe get, some of the little signs around there too to get them delineated. I like this map. So anyway, that's all I've got for that. That's all I got.
Okay, so in regards to the pesticide free, so I went to the school board meeting because they had changed their pesticide program for the school district, and they were updating it. So I read over what they had proposed, and unfortunately, the meeting that they were discussing it, I couldn't speak at because it had been over. There was just a lot of other people speaking about some other topics, and they ran out of time and they closed it off. But I did go back yesterday and I spoke with them, and so I just put in that they're working towards pesticide free, and they have, the language in it isn't as strong as I thought it could be. So I have made some notations, and I'm hopefully gonna send that off to them so that they will have that. They have a pesticide coordinator, that or an implementator, and who they're going to work with, within the community. They outsource some of this stuff. So so I did that. And then I had sent Linda my stuff for organic lawn care. And then I came across a really great website that had just basically made some links for, that I think that we should include on our, if you go to the CAC, and basically I wanted to include it also to Roy into, what the, like your suggestions towards at the bottom, like if you want to try to do low mow at your house, what native plants, are conducive to here. There's you can put in through the, I think it's the Audubon Society, that you can put in your zip code, and then that shows up and it tells you which ones, are which ones they are, so that you can, get those, and a couple of other things. I need to set up a time with Laura or the IT person and run this all by somebody so that I can get clearance to do it. So there's a couple of balls in the air, and I feel like I can't really get over the finish line, but I'm really trying. And if anybody wants to read any of it and have suggestions, I would be happy to send it to you. And for some feedback. And if anybody else has any ideas of how we can, move, our community
Can
forward.
take a look at it. I also have an information sheet that I sent to a local resident up in Glenville on some of the ways of maintaining pollinator habitat in a backyard, with links to the Xerces Society and seed supplies and so on. And I can send that to you, Ellen, or to other people as well.
Is that the link that was on the bottom of the notes that you sent? Or was
It
that a
expands
different
on
company?
that.
Okay.
And Ellen, I emailed Laura earlier about this, but literally today I'm having lunch with my friend who just moved here, and she's like, "Have you ever heard of Sunday lawn care?" And I was like, "I've never heard of this." So she sent me a link, and basically, and I'm going to read up on it more just before I really promote it, but it sounds like these two brothers who were kind of sick and tired of using toxic chemicals and pesticides, and they have agreed, or they've created this company where you send them where you live. They figure out what your specific grass type needs, and they use non-toxic chemicals. So like the products, let me see if they.
Yeah. Do they do this area?
So they do send it to a Niskayuna resident currently.
Oh, okay, great. Because I'm not sure, maybe, so there is a company that so from last time, there is a company that did, the 30-hour program to be able to have, run pesticide, and we do have actually a lawn care system, somebody that runs a lawn care business in this area that is willing to do organic. It is a little bit more expensive, and they'll meet with you. I'm actually going to use them this year and see, usually I do my own, but I wanted to try it out and see what it was and see how they work. So
I like that. Just to have options, if somebody's like, maybe it's a little too expensive, this might be a better option for them. It looks like they use soy protein, iron, seaweed, and molasses with like potassium and other nutrients, but they don't use any of the harsh chemicals that are found in pesticides. So I don't know fully on it. I'll do my research and I'll send you what I got, but it could just be a cool alternative option if somebody's, interested.
Yeah, that would be great. I think that's I think that's the link to the missing piece for Niskayuna, is someone that's going to do it for them. Yeah, so that would be great.
Awesome.
No, but this is the step. This is what we have to do. And, obviously talk to your neighbors. So. Okay, I think that wraps it up for me. Does anybody else have anything else? Did we cover, is there any other things that we didn't cover?
Ellen, this is Ashok. I just wanted to quickly say the sign-ups are out for the new the farmers market, the Niskayuna farmers market. So I saw the link on a Facebook post, but I couldn't get to it. But if someone can sign up for a CAC slot in the summer or send me the link, I can do it. It was very nice to do it last summer, and I'd like to do it again this summer.
Yeah, I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I will reach out to that person, and I will. I think her name is Libby, right? And
Yeah.
and I will ask about sign up for sure. I would. I'd really like to do that, and I'd really like to, run a compost day. To how to build your own compost. I think that would be really great at the farmers market too. So I have all
Sure.
these grand ideas, but I just need to a little push out the door, I guess, to get it done. But thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, Tree Council also expressed interest in going back. I think her name is Libby. So between me and you, Ellen, hopefully we can get a hold of her and get some time scheduled.
I'll put it on to email her.
But I think that brings us to adjournment.
Okay. So without further ado, are we ready to, I make a motion that we adjourn the March 2nd, 2022 CAC meeting? All in favor? I don't know how to say it.
I second that.
Thanks, Chelsea. Any
No
opposed?
problem.
Okay, sounds like you're adjourned. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ellen.
Thank you. Sorry, that was a little rough.
No, that was great.
You did great, Ellen. Don't worry. Good night, guys.
Good night. So are you